Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this edition of Eyeing the Dream. In the recent past, many nurses have been traveling to the USA to start a new journey in their nursing career. Today, we speak to one of them and she gives us insights on how you can come to the USA as a nurse. Welcome and enjoy the conversation. It's a pleasure having you today. I needed you to guide the nurses because they are asking how somebody can come here as a nurse. And me, I'm not a nurse, but I know from your own personal experience, you can guide people on how they can come to the USA as nurses. You'll start by introducing yourself so that at least the people can know you.
Yeah, my name is Faith Joy Gakii, mostly known as Kiki in most of the groups. Most nurses identify me as Kiki. Been a nurse now for 10 years. I studied my nursing at Kenya Methodist University. And from then I've worked with different organizations. I have a rich, long curriculum of, long CV of the people that I have worked with. But yes, I have around 10 years of experience as a nurse in Kenya. Okay,
you've talked of training at KEMU.
Yeah.
So it means you are a graduate nurse. But I know there are many nurses in Kenya who are either community nurses or enrolled nurses or graduates who want to come to the USA. What would be the difference for a community nurse, for a KRN, and for a graduate who wants to come to the USA?
Now, for coming to the USA, you have to be a KRCHN, which is the diploma nurse, or a BSN. There's no agency that I know that processes for the enrolled nurses, that is the certificate. So minimum cutoff is the diploma, the KRCHN and above.
Okay, so for you, before you went into nursing, because I know you went to certain schools, maybe you can give us your background while you were growing up, how it was.
Yeah, so I was born in Meru, Tigania. I lived in Kobo, different parts of Meru. I went to different schools. The one that I graduated with, my KCP, was Mogona YMCA. Then I went to Chogoria Girls High School. I got a B plane now that landed me to Kenya Methodist University, where I pursued my nursing. So for majority of my life, I have lived in Chogoria, because my mom is a nurse also and works in Chogoria Hospital. Actually, she's my great inspiration to joining nursing, because being brought up by a nurse, living within an hospital environment and seeing how people relate, how people behave around the hospital, motivated me to join this career, and that's where I started my journey from.
So you said you are from Muguna Primary School. I believe that should be a village school.
Yeah, it's a village school, but unfortunately it's no longer there. For some reasons it was closed. Yeah, but Chogoria Girls is there now, currently a national school. It wasn't a national school when I was there. It was just a giant school, but not a national school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you actually mean that somebody can come from Meru na kuja America?
Meru unaweza toka hata kwa kijiji ile iko chini kabisa na ufike America. It is possible. You just need to have dreams and goals and just know what you want to achieve in life. There's nothing that is impossible to get. If you decide you're gonna come to America, you're going to come to America. Another thing I have not said, my journey has not started right now in America. To come into America, I was denied a visa back in 2007, but I wanted to come as a student then, but I never lost hope. 12 years down the line, I'm here. So it is possible to come from any position, any place in Meru, including Tigania, Miavene, where I was born, and come to the America. It is possible.
So maybe as we continue, I know there are some young girls and boys back in Meru who would want to come to America. What is your message to them? Somebody who is going to that village school where they go to school barefoot, you know, in the evening they come back. I don't know whether wanachuna mirai in the evening. What is your message to them?
My message to them is to dream big, to never give up. No matter the circumstances around you, just keep focused on what you want to achieve. There are so many ways of coming to America. For us, we're talking about coming to nursing, but not everybody will be a nurse at the end of the day. They should just dream and see which direction they want to go in life, and how with whatever they are doing back home, get them to the US. If they are so persistent to coming to the US as nurses, because that is the most straightforward way I know of coming to the US, they can come. But the best thing is dreaming and pursuing their dreams. It is possible, it is achievable, they can get here. So even if one is going to the school barefooted, cold, carrying water in the evening, there's no water, there's no electricity, they're using candles and everything else. Ile lamp ya kitambo, I can't remember the name, kusoma. It is possible. That one should never be an hindrance. It should actually be a stepping stone. That today I am using a koroboi, tomorrow I do not want to use a koroboi. Tomorrow I do not want my children to use the same things I used. I want a better future for them. So they should dream big, not looking back to where they have come from, and using the challenges they are facing today as stepping stone for them to become better people in future and even get here where we are today.
Yeah, so for you, apart from your mother, what inspired you into nursing? Because this program is called Eyeing the Dream. So I know you are on your way to achieve your dream. What is inspired you apart from your mother?
Apart from my mother, what inspired me to joining this career is to helping people and to helping people in a limitless environment. So I, of course, I've been a nurse in Kenya, but there were so many constraints in helping people. So I wanted to come here to pursue my nursing in a place where there's enough provision so that whenever I offer services to a person, I am satisfied I have done the best. There's no limitation. If you need anything to pursue or to make that patient feel good, feel comfortable, you got it. So that's why I pursued nursing beyond Kenya. I did my best in Kenya, but every time I felt some inadequacy because there were so many limitations. I didn't feel like I was adding enough value to the life of my patient. That's why I decided to come here and try it. And so far I'm happy, I'm doing my best, and I think my patients are happy with my work.
Yeah, many nurses have been asking how they can be able to come here from back home, and I know maybe from across the African continent and the rest of the world. Can you take us through the process of a nurse coming here to the USA?
So the process is not easy. First, you must have patience. So first thing to coming here is you must have a goal and a desire to come to the US. And then the next thing, you must at least be a diploma or a degree nurse in Kenya, that is KCRHN or the BSN. You must have either of that. Then the next thing is to ask yourself, the next step is, do I have enough money to pursue this process individually without an agency, then join the agency at the last part after my NCLEX, or do I need an agency to walk me through the journey? So for most of the nurses, after you have decided you want to come to the US, the next thing is to get an agency. There are so many agencies, they have different requirements in terms of hospitals where you work. Yeah, most of them currently are not taking below a level 5. Most of them are taking the private hospitals, and most of the level 5s and above. So you must be in some level of facility for you to qualify. Then get an agency. So there are so many agencies. For me personally, I use the O'Grady Payton OGP. There's Avant, there's MedPro, there's Interstaff, there's Passport USA. There are a bunch of them. I think there are around over 15 of them that are recruiting for Kenya. So the next thing is for a person to try and see which agency fits me. Personally, I tried around 3 agencies that I never qualified, so I finally qualified for O'Grady Payton, then started my process with them. So after pursuing and getting an agency, they are going to walk you through the process. Because for you to come to the US as a USRN, you must do the NCLEX and pass it. Most of the people are not confident doing the NCLEX alone, because you need somebody to guide you. This is not something we have done in Kenya. So most of the agencies will take you through a pre-NCLEX class, buy you some resources. They'll be monitoring your study until to a level that they are like confident that if you're going to do the NCLEX today, you are going to pass. Now once you're through with the pre-NCLEX process, they are going to follow up what we call the authorization to test. They are going to the agency follows up all that for you. You're going to get an authorization to test. Then they are going to ask for Kenya. Mostly we test either in India or in South Africa, unless for a person who had a previous visitor's visa who can come to the US and do the exam from here. But for most of us, do either in South Africa or in India. So at that point now, they book for you the exam in South Africa or in India, then you go do the exam. If you are lucky to pass within the first chance, then now when you come back, there's what we call the I-140, which is the alien worker, like it's more of a permission. The agency is asking for the government for an opportunity to bring this nurse to the US as an alien worker. Okay. Yeah, so if you get the I-140, there's the regular, there's the premium. The regular, they pay extra and you get an approval within 14 days. If you're not lucky to get the premium, you can go through regular. It can take around 3 months, sometimes less. Then once that one is qualified, you get a welcome letter. There are a few other things that happen in between, and finally you come to fill the DS-260. At this point, when you're filling the DS-260, you're supposed to have all the documents for your family, the marriage certificates, birth certificates for your children, for your spouse, police clearance for your spouse, then passports for all the members you are carrying with you to the US. Then you're going to fill the DS-260 for each one of them. Once you've filled the DS-260, you wait around 3 to 5 weeks, you become case complete. At this point, when we are saying you are case complete, you are documentarily completed. You have documentarily completed the process to the US. So what you're just doing is sitting down and waiting for an embassy date.
Okay.
Yeah, so at that point you're good to go.
Okay, so you've talked about having all the necessary documents. I know in Kenya there are many people who are in a relationship, they say, come, we stay, and then we'll marry later. So for such a person, what would be your advice to them?
They go to the AG or to the church and get a marriage certificate. A legal marriage certificate is needed. Okay. Yeah, the one thing we need to understand, the embassy really investigates. So going behind the scenes and getting some marriage certificate is not the best thing. Have a legal marriage certificate from the AG. That is the first thing. If you are living together, it's time to pursue to get a marriage certificate before you even begin the process. And again, you don't want to wait until you are almost done. Now the embassy is there, or I'm almost done with the process to get the marriage certificate. Sometimes it raises eyebrows with the embassy, and they can put you on something called administrative processing for them to investigate whether this marriage is legal or you just coming together to lift each other to America.
So mtu hawezi kuenda kwa chief amwandikie.
Hapana, hakuna. You have to go to an AG or do the church way, of which the church way also requires you to go to an AG to get a legal marriage certificate for you to be able to come over here.
Okay, now before we go into the embassy interview, up to this point, how much would have somebody spent?
Mostly there is actually before DS-260, you will not have spent anything, because the embassy, the agency will sponsor you pre-NCLEX. Some agency requires a commitment fee of around 20,000 Kenya shillings. Then after the commitment fee, they pay for you everything, the resource materials, they pay for you your flight to South Africa, the hotel. So you might need, let's say, around 10,000 to buy chocolate for your kids back in South Africa. They got nice chocolate and every other thing you need to buy for them. So generally, in terms of the process, you will not have spent much. The spending comes before you file the DS-260, because you have to pay $345 for all the people you are going with. If your family as 3 members, you have to pay $345, which is around
$345 per person.
Yeah, $345 per person, which is around that 4,500 in Kenya shillings without the current conversion rate. So you have to pay for each family member. So at that point is where I see some people like take some break before they pay for that, especially if you have a big family and you are not saved. Because in terms of Kenya shillings, if you're in a family of 4 people, that one is not 140, definitely will come almost 170 because of the conversion rate. So you need to have by the time you get to that point, will be almost an year since you started the process, or even more than an year, it is always good to be wise to start investing early, because you know you will need this money at this point. So after the 345, for that is the NVC fee, you will not need to pay any other amount before the embassy.
Okay. And I'm told before you go to the embassy, there is the medical examinations.
Yes, there's the medicals where you go. This is a requirement for anybody that has to go through the US embassy on immigrant visa, like the nurses. So in the embassy, they do a few investigations. Mostly there's a urine sample, they take a blood sample, and then the chest x-ray to see whether you have TB. Then they are also going to check through your vaccine history. There's the vaccines that are listed that are required for one to have taken before they come to the US. There are a bunch of them. I don't know if you'd want me to mention them, but they also check if you're fully immunized for you to travel. If you're not fully immunized at the IOM, that is where we do the medicals, they are going to give you the vaccines that you're missing. And then now they do the chest x-ray. Chest x-ray is where most of the people are caught. Remember, in our Kenyan environment, there's congestion in the facilities and what. So for most of the people, they go for IOM, then the chest is not clear. So when it's not clear, they will hold you back. You take medication for 3 months. Then you restart the process all over again for the medicals. So that is where most people are caught, but most of the people, they just go past that easily.
Okay, so you've talked about vaccinations, because I hear people say that you must keep all your vaccination records and certificates. So what would you tell people in terms of the vaccination records?
For adults, really, most of us do not have our vaccine records from our parents, but for the vaccines that are needed for adults, those are vaccines you can actually get. The measles, mumps, rubella, you can get that. Most of us got measles when we were kids, so we already immune against that. You can even choose to get the titers, which show you are immune against that, same as chicken pox. So it's the varicella, the MMR, the hepatitis B, then the undercell is a combination of, I think, around 5 vaccines. I think those are the main ones that we need. So those ones are things you can get. Most of them are not as expensive. But if you feel like you cannot get all of them at your squeezed of time, and you know you have suffered a condition, you can go get the titers. For most nurses, we get hepatitis B shot when we're in college. So you already have immune against hepatitis B. You just go do the titers at Lancet, same as MMR if you ever got measles and chicken pox. If you did not get that one, just get all the shots and be prepared. For the children, it is good to keep their records, because they want to take any child, I think below 15 years, they want to track of all their vaccines. If by accident you lost the documents, the child documents, you can go to the facility where you gave birth and let them write for you all the vaccines your child got from when they were born until the point where they are in life. Then it is stamped by the hospital and a pediatrician. Then you can use that as the evidence to the embassy of the previous history of immunization for the child. Then going forward, there are those vaccines that you're going to do near the embassy. Now those ones, you will already have another card for that.
Okay, forgive me because I'm not a medic. The last time I heard of titers, it was somebody's name. So you've talked about titers several times.
Yes.
What does it mean?
Titers is an immunoglobulin test. It's called IgG, that one does to test the immunity of a condition you have suffered before. So every time you get like this condition, like chicken pox, you develop an immunity against chicken pox. That's why you don't get chicken pox twice. Same as measles, mumps, and I don't know whether we have rubella in Africa. Where every time you get these conditions, these viral conditions, you develop an immunity against that. So once because you already have the immunity, you don't need another vaccine and you're already immune. So the immunoglobulin, the titers will test your immune against that condition. Okay. So if you have suffered that condition, it will be positive, showing you cannot get this condition again. So they are confident that you are not a risk to the US government. They protect their people so much.
So this immunization process or the vaccinations, how much do they cost?
Yeah, depending on where you are and where you get them, they will cost around 20,000 per person. Yeah, because there are people that are missing more vaccines. If you choose to go the entire 3 course of hepatitis B, 2 course of measles, 2 course of varicella, and then the other cell, you will end up spending slightly less than 20,000.
Okay.
Yeah, if you go the titles way, you spend around 15,000.
Okay.
Yes.
And this is money you spend from your pocket, or the agency still
No, this
supports?
is money you spend from your pocket.
Okay, now take us to the embassy. Now you have passed the medicals. Now the next thing is the embassy. What is the process?
Yeah, before I go to the embassy, I need to also mention that because of the mention of the x-ray at the medicals, many nurses who are pregnant are like, I cannot take an x-ray when I am pregnant, so I'm going to cancel my embassy date until I give birth. Nobody needs to do that one, because at the medicals, they protect you. There's what we call double shield. So if you're pregnant, they have no worries about you being pregnant. What they do is protecting you. So they give you a double shield, so you take an x-ray and your baby is safe. So no nurse who is pregnant should be worried that I'm going to IOM, they're taking an x-ray, I'll be worried. So I just wanted to clarify that. Now going to the embassy.
Maybe you need to clarify further, because I know there may be nurses who are expectant and they fear going to the embassy because there'll be, there's that medical examination where they check for pregnancy. Will you be denied visa because you're pregnant?
Nobody will deny you visa because you're pregnant. If I can give my personal bet, is that by the time I was going to the IOM, I was at 1 week pregnant. By the time I was going to the embassy, which was the next week, I was 32 weeks pregnant. And I got I was cleared for IOM. I got a chest x-ray safely. The urine they did was not for pregnancy. They did a urine for... they do for pregnancy and syphilis, I guess, but they cannot deny you from going forward because you're pregnant. Okay. One thing I realized with the U.S. embassy, they are not they do not discriminate against pregnancy issues. Your reproductive issues are your personal businesses. They cannot use that one to deter you from proceeding with the process.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, now you are taking us to the embassy, so take us through the embassy process.
Now, to the embassy, by the time you're going to the embassy, you will have gotten the dates for the embassy before. Because you get the dates like a month before, so that you book medicals. Now you are done with, you have booked medicals, now you have gone to the embassy. You will have been given a time slot on the time you're supposed to go to the embassy, and there are documents you're supposed to carry with you. Of course, passports for all the people you're going with. Police clearance for anybody above 16 years. Then you will need to carry what we call visa screen. That one is sent by the embassy. That one is now for the nurse. The other family members do not need that. Then you need to have your vaccine record will have been sent from now medicals to embassy directly. Then you need to have a proof of the job you're going to work in the US. Documents showing I have been offered a job in this facility. This is the amount I am going to be earning. I think basically that's what they ask. Of course, you need to have a license from Kenya, an up-to-date license showing you are a registered nurse in Kenya. And yeah, they ask for the license and the certificate that nurses get from Nursing Council. I think that's all the documents they need at the embassy.
And bank statement? They
do not need a bank statement. Remember, you're coming as a immigrant. There's immigrant visa and an immigrant visa. So for an immigrant visa, you are coming on a capacity of a green card. You're coming to work as an employee of a certain company. That's why you have this proof of a job in the US. So nobody cares about your bank statement. Nobody will ask you about a bank statement at the embassy.
And what kind of questions are asked at the embassy?
So mostly they will ask you where you have been working. Mostly you can mention the last job where you are currently working and tell them before that you had other like 5 employers or 2 employers. Then they will ask you why you want to go to the US. Then they will ask you how much you're going to, which state you're going to, which hospital, and how much you're going to be earning there. If you have kids, they'll ask if these were your kids. If you have a spouse, they may ask the spouse a few questions like, how long have you been married to this person? Do you have any other children outside the children you have with this person here with you today? Then they'll ask about if you have been convicted of any crime. Okay. Yeah, mostly they do not ask the children any questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I hear at the embassy there are some slips. I think yellow slips or green slips. What do they mean?
Yeah. So when you get a green slips, you can celebrate. You've not really celebrate because sometimes things turn upside down, but at least you have a green light now. You have gotten the visa. You just go wait 3 days, then go to DHL to pick your visa. If you get a yellow paper, mostly for nurses is green or yellow. That is administrative process. Means there's some more documents the embassy needs for them to qualify you or to give you the visa. So at this point where you're getting green or yellow, sometimes they might give you back all your passports. Other times they might be left with the passport and just give you the yellow so that you go and submit a few documents. Then they approve the documents. Then they issue the visa and send back the visa through DHL. Other times you will go with your documents, with your passport, then they will ask you to send them back. You don't need to go repeat the embassy interview again. They'll just need the passport. Once they have gotten all the information, they need to qualify your visa.
Okay.
Yeah, so getting a yellow paper is not the end of everything.
Okay. And then in terms of cost at the embassy, is there a cost or will have already been covered?
At the embassy, you're not paying anything unless you're adding somebody that was not there in the process from the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think maybe we need to go for a break. Then from there now you tell us your journey to the USA now. Now take us through the process of coming to the US. Now here is Kiki. You have passed your medicals. You have your visa.
Visa, yes.
It's like going to heaven.
Yes, that feeling is amazing. Getting a visa is amazing. Yes, because not everybody who goes to the embassy who gets a visa, so it's amazing. So after the visa, remember you're with the agent, so you're not alone. So, and you also have a start date for the facility where you're going to work. So you will work with the embassy and tell them, now they know you have a visa. This is the day you are supposed to come to the US to work. Sometimes the date may be so far they might push them closer. Other times the date may be still very far from the time you got your visa, but they do not have an opportunity to push them closer. So they will tell you to wait. They are going to give you, and they are going to tell you when to travel. So it is different for different people. Some people, after they have gotten the visa, they just want to leave Kenya, come to the US, stay with somebody as they wait for their start date to happen. The other thing now, after also you have gotten the visa, there is what we call, for some states, not all of them, especially in Pennsylvania here, you have to do a SSN trip where you have to travel to the US, not Pennsylvania to be specific, for your social security number to be activated so that they can start endorsing your license. So for some states, I think there are around 6 states, you will need to travel first, come to the US, land in the US, stay 1 day, then go back to the Kenya. Landing to the US alone activates your social security number. Then go to Kenya and wait until the time you are supposed not to travel with your family. By that time, your social security number will be out and your green card will be out. So you can start processing the license for the nurse license to start working in that state. For all the other states, you don't need that. You just land within the US. The social security number is activated automatically, and the green card. There's that yellow envelope that one gets at the embassy once you have done your visa, that you're told not to open. You give at the point of entry where you land into the US. You give to the immigration guys there. That once you give them that one, now that one is, most of them, it's almost automatic except for a few cases. They are going to start processing your social security number and your green card. Within two weeks, your social security should be out. Sometimes the green card takes a bit longer. It can take 2 weeks to 5 weeks. Then it will also be delivered to your location. At this point now, of course, you already know where you're going to work. So you're going to that facility. So with an agency, the other advantage of now having an agency is that if you are coming alone, they are going to pay the flight for you. If you're coming with a family, you pay all your flights together so that they are not paying for you, then you're paying for your family, then you get in different flights. So you pay for your entire family together, including your ticket, then the agency will reimburse your ticket as the nurse.
Okay.
Yes, so yeah, that's where some people are like, that's too much money, they should pay for all of us. Then there are people who opt to come. The nurse comes first, starts working first for some degree of time, get some money, then they're able to pay flights for the other family members to come.
But how is that possible, considering that the visa has timelines? I think you're given, is it 5 months?
It's around 6 months. So if you're able to travel immediately after getting the visa, then you start working maybe the 2nd month or the 3rd month. If you can work 2 months, you can pay for them as far as they travel to the US within less than 6 months. Because if they go past the 6 months again, will mean them going back to the embassy.
Okay. So now in your journey to the USA, once you get here, how does the agency support?
So after you have landed to the airport, your entry airport to the state where you're going to, they are going to get, they will have organized an hotel for you, where you picked by the hotel from the airport to the hotel. You sleep there for that night or 2 nights depending on the circumstances. Then there is what we call community liaison officer is going to pick you from the hotel and now take you to your house. Remember, you will have searched for a house earlier before, then identified the house and told the agency, this is the house I want to. Sometimes you might even need to pay for the registration fee yourself. Then the embassy the agency pays for you the deposits and maybe the rent for that month. Sometimes they might even pay for you the rent for 2 months. But this payment is not free. It's a loan they're giving you that they'll be deducting from your pay stubs. Every month they can deduct like 200 or 250 from your pay stub until you're done paying that. Now let's go back now. The community liaison has picked you and brought you to your house. You come and find a beautiful house with nothing. So this is where again it comes to how much did you carry from Kenya? Because much as the embassy is, the agency is paying for you most of the things, you will need money to settle. You will need money for food. They give you an air mattress for you free. If you need any extra, they will charge you. So you come to the house and the only thing you have is whatever your bags from Kenya and an air mattress. What's after that? You'll need food. You need to shop food. With time, you can sit on the carpet for some time. Then you can need to buy maybe TV, sofa, everything. So this is all determined. How much money did you carry from Kenya will determine the rest of the process. At least we say there's a basic minimum you're supposed to carry that can push you for the days before you start working, because the agency is not going to buy food for you.
Okay.
But if you're hand pressed, you can get a loan from them. Then they'll just push it back to your loan that they'll be deducting you every month. But most of the people get loans from Kenya or carry the money they had invested from Kenya to come and help them settle down. If your life is not so complicated, 300 if your loan is enough. Okay. The bigger the family, the more the money you need to come. Some people say like basic have 200 per head. So if you're coming with a family of 5, carry $1 million. It is not like cast on stone. Carry whatever you have. Then when you come on the ground, you just do readjustments.
Okay, but apart from food, I was told that here, if you walk outside there, you'll find people have thrown a few things here and there you can pick and use in the house. Is that possible? It's
not always the case. It can, depending on where you live, you might find people, somebody is tired of their sofa and they feel, they just go put it on, across the road. You can go pick that and start using washing machine, the same, and a few other things. But now you can also not come to the US and start waiting for people to throw things away. At the same time, you can come and interact with some very nice people who are like, we have a bed we are disposing. Can we give the bed to you? We have a sofa we are disposing. But it's not always the case. So you need to come prepared, at least for food. Yeah, the other things can come if you have food and a place to sleep. I think the other things can come in shortly. Then there are also the thrift shops where you can go and buy things at a cheaper price. You can get a very nice sofa at just a few dollars, and that one can push you until the moment you can afford to buy a new one. And sometimes you might even not need to change it because it's in good shape. Okay.
And then I normally hear people talk of culture shock. Did you experience culture shock when you came here?
My case is different because I did not come to work immediately. I have a cousin that hosted me for 3 months, so I did not come to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is my place of work. I landed in Texas where I had a cousin first. So they had a program for us to introduce us to US. They had activities listed for us, meals listed for us, things we were supposed to do to help us adjust to the US life. So I personally don't think I got culture shock. Okay. Because I had people to walk me through the journey in the US, so it was easier for me. But for people who just come land in the house, you are start getting things here and there, shopping, going to work, there's culture shock. Okay. Yeah, but if you land on a softer ground with somebody who has an aim to orient you, they called it Faith Joy Orientation, and every day was like, today we are teaching you about this. So I had somebody to 3 months take me through being in US. The day you go to shop for a bed, this is what you're looking for. We'd go to a shop and show me how beds look like, how mattresses look like. The next day they would go to a car dealership. This is how shopping a car in US feels like. So for me it was easier because somebody took me through the entire process of settling down in the US.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I think we can take a break for a minute, and then now we continue with now the working environment. Now I want you to talk to us about the work experience, the work environment, the challenges, the benefits.
Yeah, the work environment is interesting because in Kenya we do not have such high standard hospitals like we do have here. But now comes now I think this is what you can call work environment shock, culture shock. There are things that are done here that we do not do in Africa. Then the machines are different. Everything is new. The first day you get, of course you are a nurse with years of experience. But when you get in here, it's a whole different things because of the things that are different. That's why the agency will put you on orientation for 12 weeks to get acquainted to everything. Everything here is computer based. It is electronic. So you walk to the patient with a computer. Everything is just on computer. Most of us are not used to using the computer, so we are a bit slow. Then the patient interaction, how we interact with patient, the etiquette is different. How you get in, say hi to a patient. I think in Africa we are always giving services as you move. Sometimes you don't even introduce yourself to the visitors. It's a all different level of practice here, and I think I like it because I'm working with a patient who knows me, and I got to know more about them. So we know each other to some level. So it's different from back home, but it's something worth chasing. It may not be easy at first, especially if you worked in a low-level facility. You might feel like it's a bit overwhelming, but it's manageable. Then the patients, mostly you get 4 to 6 patients. So with 4 to 6 patients, you're able to do quite a lot for them within a 12-hour shift. Most of the international nurses come on the 12-hour shift, night shift. Yeah, so where you work only that 6 hours per week.
So 36 hours per week is like how many days?
3 nights, 3 days. 1 night is 12 hours, so it's 3 nights in a week.
So in a week, you have 4 days that you are free?
Yeah, you have 4 days that you are free.
So what happens those 4 days?
So what happens with those 4 days? For the first few days, the amount you earn, remember you're under the agency, they sponsored you, so there is something they are getting from your salary. You're not getting a full salary. You're getting not so much because you are paying them for the amount they sponsored you, paying your staff from pre-NCLEX all the way. So you're getting little money. So with these 4 other days, you can choose, especially after orientation, you can choose to pick an extra shift. You can also get like an employer, like a nursing home, where you can be going and working for a few hours and getting some some extra money from there.
So this is what some other nurses call mpango wa kando.
Yeah, we call it mpango wa kando because the agency should not know that you have this. They brought you here, they are protecting your license, that's why they are getting you this standard facility to work in. Most of the time, the nursing homes are not like a standard setup, and the agency does not want you to risk your license going to work there, especially when you are working with the elderly, and anytime they fall, it is an implication to your license. Okay. So, but you need the money, so you just play safe and go work there and get the extra money to support yourself. I would say for sure, it is a dream worth chasing, but the first few days, for some people might feel frustrated because you're just earning to pay bills. You get paid every 2 weeks. The first pay stub maybe caters for your car, your insurance, and maybe your electricity. Then the second pay stub, more than 3/4 goes to the rent. You are left with a very little amount to top up on food. So if you stick to working like the 36 hours per week, sometimes you might find you're only working to pay bills. You cannot save a little cent. You cannot send somebody in Kenya in trouble, some 2,000 or something. So sometimes you need to do something extra, but with caution, of course.
But many people who have stayed here normally say that it's nurses who have all the money.
It's nurses who have all the money after the agency. I do not want to say how much the agency pays because every agency pays differently, but it's way slightly less than $40 per hour, which is still good money compared to the Kenyan standards. But after you're done with the agency, you might be earning $70 per hour, which is all way different. So still, nurses got the monies. We got the monies. But it is a process before you get there. So before you get to a point where you can really have all this money, after you are done with your agency, because you have a commitment to work for them after they have sponsored you for the duration, you will have limited amount of money, but this one should not discourage anybody. It's just a 2-year contract. Then you can go and earn all the other dollars you want to earn outside there. But for this duration, that's where I think having something extra to do comes in.
Based on what you've said, and if I do a quick calculation, if you're working 12 hours a day and roughly you're earning like $40 per hour, it's like $440 per day. That is equivalent to 1 month's salary in Kenya.
Definitely, yes. So that's where it's all difference. The bills are there. The money is also there.
I hope the nurses are listening to
this.
Yeah.
The bills are there, but the money is also there. It is worthy, the dream of a nurse coming in Kenya. My fellow Kenyan nurses, don't be comfortable back home. It is worthy here. There are so many beautiful things for nurses here. Working in an environment that has everything that you need for you to give your best. It is a dream come true. So don't be discouraged. The bills will be there, but the money will also be there. Depending on your energy, you will get the dollars.
Okay, and I know there may be nurses in Kenya who really want to come, and for one reason or another, either they're not being supported by their spouses, or their spouses fear something about their nurses coming to Kenya. What would be your message to such spouses?
The message to such spouses: support your wife, support your husband. in achieving this dream. It is it is not just for her alone. Don't feel intimidated that maybe my wife is a nurse, she'll be earning these dollars, and before I can get to that point of be earning a half, she'll be paying for the bills. No. Remember, you're doing this also partly for your children. So usijiweke ile udume ya siwezi enda mwanamke awe ananiprovidea nimeketi kwa nyumba. No, remember, what do you want for your children? Free education, very high-tech levels of learning. You need this. So it may not be easy for you as a spouse of a nurse the first few days. You might need to be the one in the house taking care of the children and while your wife works. But some humility also comes in where you sit down as you look for something too. So most of the spouses I've seen, those who are nurses, start with these other jobs, work for these do these other jobs for some time. So once the nurse is done with the agency contract and is now earning more money, they are able to sponsor their spouses to go back to school and do nursing. For those that are interested, for those, not everybody can be a nurse. Those that are not interested in nursing, there are other jobs outside there and they pay. You just need to look around in the market and get to see what you like and work towards that. One thing here, people work with passion. So whatever you get to do, you do it passionately. So spouses of nurses, and especially the husbands, please support your wives. It is for the good cause of your family at the end of the day, and for your children more. I think most of us are doing this for our children.
Yeah, you said school fees there is no school fees.
No, education is free. Yeah, we only pay for meals, which I think is around $3.75 per day. So it's something very little. Education is free. They are picked by the buses. They do not spend 12 hours in school like in Kenya. Like maybe they are picked at 7:40 or 7:50 and they are back here already before the children are in their house.
Okay. And then I know as we conclude, maybe there are those who want to continue the conversation with you. I don't know whether you're in a position to continue that conversation. Then you share like your social media accounts so that anybody who wants to contact you for advice, for guidance.
So anybody who needs to contact me can get me through Facebook. I'm Faith Joy Gakii. I'm always answering questions. So just bring those questions to me on Facebook. On Instagram, I think I'm also Faith Kiki, FEIGHTZ Kiki. You can get me on either. I'll be able to respond to you. I want to encourage as many nurses. A few times I've told the nursing, hey, you keep borrowing me money. You are a nurse, you're struggling in Kenya. Why can't you try this? It is time for nurses to wake up. Sometimes your facility, you might try an agency and they disqualify you because of the facility you work in. You might need to change facilities sometimes for you to get qualified, which is a lesser cost compared to missing the entire dream because of a facility. So it is possible, it is achievable. Those single mothers who are out there and they are saying like my baby daddy will not allow me to travel, show them the importance of you traveling with your child to the US. And let them sign for you the consent. Again, I think we will talk about this one later, but if you have a child as a single mom and your baby, the father's name is on the birth certificate, you will need a consent from the father for you to go with that child to the embassy. Otherwise, you go to the embassy and get a yellow form because you do not have all the required documents. Your baby's daddy can give you the consent letter, or you can get it from a lawyer. So that one should not be an hindrance. Sometimes some people tell me, I don't know where he is. We have not met for 15 years. How do I get the consent? You get a lawyer. There are lawyers that are qualified in writing for you the consent letter that you can use at the embassy to qualify. So nobody is prohibited, or nobody, as far as you are a nurse, you can join this process and pursue it. Okay. It is possible.
There may be somebody in Kenya or anywhere, for one reason or another, studied a different course and they are not employed. Like for example, maybe somebody is a qualified teacher in Kenya. What would you advise them? Should they pursue nursing, or what should they do?
Yeah, overall, I think it depends on your calling. As I said earlier, not everybody can be a nurse. If you really want to come here to the US, you have tried the green card every October, you do not get it, and you still persistent, you still determined to come to the US. Sometimes people change careers for the bigger goals.
Okay.
Yes, like you say, I want to go to the US for the sake of my children, and I have to get there. None of us, my husband, my wife, none of them is a nurse. One of you can just join nursing for the bigger goal. Otherwise, you keep trying the green card. There are other visas. I may not talk about them. I'm not familiar. There are the religious visas, the student visas, and all that people can pursue. So, depends at what level people are on in life. But I keep encouraging people, make sure every year you never miss applying the green card.
Yeah, and then finally, it's now this thing you're calling green card. What are the benefits for somebody to get this green card?
So once you get I'm already a green card holder by the virtue that I came as a nurse. Then there's the green card that comes from the lottery. At the end of it, when you land to the US, you are in equal capacity to a US citizen. There's nothing they can do in this land that you cannot do. You are legal permanent residents. So nobody will discriminate you against anything. You can buy property, you can work as many jobs as you wish, you can get everything you want with as far as your green card holder. Then after 5 years of being a green card holder, I think now you can pursue your citizenship. That's the main advantage of coming on a green card holder, is you are not limited. You are almost an equal person. You're not actually almost, you're in equal capacity to a US citizen. I think the only difference is you cannot vote, but otherwise everything else is the same.
So it means when you have a green card, like for example, when you go to the airport, when you are traveling, you queue as an American, the way, there are queues for Americans, such kind of queues. So you can, with a green card, you can queue with the other Americans. You
can. Okay. Yeah, so once you have a green card, every time you go to Kenya, you just need your passport. You don't need to be getting a visa back and forth, back and visa back and front. You're free from that at that point.
Okay, so Kiki, before you give us your parting shot, I want to thank you for your time. Hopefully you have inspired the next generation of nurses. I'm sure many people will work on this. They'll view this and they'll start working on their papers so that in the near future they can join you.
Sure.
So maybe your final parting shot.
Thank you for having me today, and to my fellow Kenyan nurses, it is better here. Please come join us. It is worthy at the end of the day. Don't be discouraged with the process. It's long. It can take 2 years or more. Don't be discouraged. Be patient. Then come and enjoy the fruit on this land. Otherwise, I wish you well as you prepare to come. I'll be waiting for you. I'll be giving you tips on your way.
Okay. Asante sana, nimeshukuru for your time.
Thank you too for having me. Okay.
Thank you for watching this edition of Eyeing the Dream. If you love our story, kindly like, share, comment and subscribe to Moving Pictures Kenya. My name is Bonventure and this is Moving Pictures Kenya, inspiring Africa.